A box of forgotten letters revealed a love the world was never meant to know. This story starts in the dustiest corner of my grandmother's attic, a place filled with forgotten treasures and the ghosts of memories past. I was helping my family clear it out after she passed, sorting through a lifetime of accumulated belongings. That's when I found it a simple, weather-beaten wooden box, tucked away under a pile of old quilts. It wasn't locked, but it felt sacred. Like opening it would be a kind of intrusion. Curiosity, however, got the better of me. Inside, nestled in yellowed tissue paper, were stacks of letters, tied neatly with faded silk ribbons. The handwriting was elegant, a beautiful, looping script that you just don't see anymore. The first letter I opened was dated in 1946, just after the war. It was from my grandmother, Eleanor, but it wasn't addressed to my grandfather. The name on the envelope was my dearest A. My heart skipped a beat. Who was it? I'd grown up hearing stories about my grandparents' whirlwind romance, how they met at a dance and were inseparable ever since. This didn't fit that narrative. I sat there, on the dusty floorboards of the attic, and began to read. The first letter from my grandmother was full of youthful hope and a touch of sadness. She wrote about the changing world, the relief of peace, and the small town she felt trapped in. She described her dreams of seeing the world, of painting, of living a life less ordinary. But mostly, she wrote about their shared memories, secret conversations under the old oak tree by the river, and promises they had made to each other. It was a letter full of longing, addressed to someone who was clearly very far away. Then I found A's replies. The return address was from a hospital in France. A's real name was Alistair. His letters were just as full of love, but they were also tinged with a deep melancholy. He was a medic during the war and had stayed behind to help with the recovery efforts. He wrote about the horrors he had seen, but also about the incredible resilience of the human spirit. He encouraged my grandmother's artistic dreams, telling her she had a gift that the world needed to see. He promised he would return, that they would build a life together, away from the prying eyes of their small town. Their letters painted a vivid picture of a deep and passionate love, one that was forced into the shadows. As I pieced their story together, I realized why. In one of Alistair's letters, he mentioned how his true nature was something their families would never understand, and how my grandmother was the only person who saw him for who he truly was. And in a reply from Eleanor, she wrote, "They tell me I should be finding a good husband. Someone like Robert, my grandfather. But how can I, when my heart is and always will be with you?" The pressure was mounting. Her parents were pushing her to settle down. My grandfather, Robert, was a well-respected young man from a good family. He was the sensible choice. The tone of the letters began to shift. Desperation crept in. Alistair's return was delayed again and again due to his work at the hospital. My grandmother wrote about the increasing pressure from her family, the loneliness she felt without him. She was fighting to hold on to their dream, but the world was closing in on her. I could feel her conflict, her pain, in every word she wrote. She loved Alistair with every fiber of her being, but she was also a product of her time. A young woman with limited options and immense societal expectations. Then I found the last letter from Alistair. It was different. The paper was creased, and there were faint smudges on the page, as if it had been tear-stained. He wrote that he had received a diagnosis from the doctors at his hospital. He didn't specify the illness, but he said he didn't have much time left. He told her not to wait for him. He released her from her promise. He wrote, "Live, my Eleanor. Live the beautiful life we dreamed of, even if it cannot be with me. Find happiness. Marry Robert. He's a good man and will take care of you. Do not let your life be a tragedy because of me. My love for you will be the last and best thing about me. Please, for me, be happy." There were no more letters from Alistair after that one. The final letter in the box was from my grandmother, but it was never sent. It was a draft, full of crossed-out words and tear-blotched ink. She told Alistair that a life without him would be no life at all, but that she would honor his last wish. She would try to be happy. She wrote, "I will marry Robert, and I will be a good wife. I will build a family, but a piece of my heart will always be buried with you in a field in France. No one will ever know." And no one ever did. My grandmother went on to marry my grandfather. They had a long and, by all accounts, happy marriage. They raised a family. They built a life together. My grandfather was a kind, steady man, and I have no doubt that she loved him. But it was a different kind of love. The passionate, all-consuming love of her youth was locked away in this box, hidden in the attic for over 70 years. It was a secret she took with her to the grave. Finding these letters changed everything I thought I knew about my grandmother. She wasn't just the sweet, gentle woman who baked the best cookies and always had a smile on her face. She was a woman of incredible strength and resilience. A woman who had loved fiercely and lost tragically. She had carried a secret sorrow with her entire life. Yet she had chosen to live, to find joy, and to build a happy life, just as Alistair had asked her to. She had honored his memory by living fully. This story isn't just about a secret love affair. It's about the sacrifices people make, the silent burdens they carry, and the different forms that love can take. It's a reminder that the people we know, even the people we are closest to, have hidden depths and secret histories we can't even imagine. Their lives are complex tapestries woven with threads of joy, sorrow, and secrets. That day in the attic, I didn't just find a box of old letters. I found the missing piece of my grandmother's heart. And in doing so, I came to understand her, and the very nature of love, in a way I never had before. Thank you for letting me share this deeply personal story with you. Sometimes the greatest stories are the ones that are never told. If you have a family story that has surprised you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the attic. See you next time.